She's just a waitress, what could she possibly know about Latin, Greek, or Mandarin? The man laughed, swirling the wine in his glass. It all started on a rainy Thursday morning. The downtown cafe was unusually full for the time of day, the kind of damp morning where everyone seemed to be chasing warmth in a coffee cup. Among the murmurs and clinks of cutlery, there she was, Layla, a 22-year-old waitress with calloused hands, tired eyes, and a heart full of unspoken dreams. She moved from table to table with quiet grace, wearing a second-hand apron and shoes that pinched her toes. But there was something rare in her gaze, a kind of silent fire, an intelligence she had long hidden beneath layers of struggle. She wasn't just any waitress. Layla had once been a linguistic prodigy. Fluent in 5 languages by the time she was 16, raised by a single immigrant mother who taught her the value of language and resilience. But when her mother fell terminally ill, Layla left her scholarship at the university to care for her. Now, instead of translating novels or working for embassies, she carried lattes and mopped floors, quietly humming in different tongues under her breath. That day, a group of executives in sharp suits filled the VIP corner. Among them was Dominic Hale, the infamous 35-year-old millionaire CEO of a global tech company, a man known for building empires and breaking egos. He was in town for a merger and had stopped for a quick coffee break. The staff whispered about him, but Layla treated him like any other customer, which oddly amused him. As Layla brought over the espresso he hadn't finished ordering, Dominic raised an eyebrow. "Impressive," he muttered, glancing at her posture and poise. "I read people's eyes," she smiled faintly, then left before he could respond. He called her back moments later. "What languages do you speak?" "English, Spanish, Arabic, Mandarin, and French," she answered, not making a show of it. Dominic chuckled and pulled out his phone. "Translate this," he said arrogantly, holding it up. It was an ancient Greek quote. "Do it fast, and I'll give you my salary for the day." His table burst into polite laughter. They expected a blush, maybe a shy refusal. Layla blinked once, then smiled. "Noida ot out noida." It means, the only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. Socrates. Silence. A slow gasp. Someone dropped their fork. She didn't wait for a reaction, just returned to her work like nothing had happened. But something had. Something big. Dominic stood up. For the first time in years, he was stunned speechless. "Wait," he called. "What's your name?" "Layla." "Do you have a resume?" "I'm a waitress, sir." "That's my resume," she replied gently, but firmly. But Dominic couldn't forget her eyes. Nor the flawless way she had said that quote, "No hesitation, no fear." There was something hauntingly powerful in her calmness. That night, he asked his assistant to find everything he could about her. By morning, he knew, Layla was brilliant, had been accepted into Ivy League programs, but disappeared from the academic world after her mother's health crisis. No debts, no criminal record. Just hard work and quiet brilliance. What he didn't know, what no one knew, was that Layla was running out of time. Her landlord had served her an eviction notice. Her younger brother needed medicine she couldn't afford, and she had secretly applied for a night shift cleaning job, because the waitress wages weren't enough. But the universe had finally decided it had watched her suffer enough. Because Dominic wasn't just impressed. He was moved. And that was only the beginning. At the end of her shift the next day, she found an envelope on the staff locker. Inside was a check, for $12,000, his daily salary. The note read, "Greater than, you earned it. But I'm not done with you yet. Come see me at the Hale Corp headquarters." Her hands trembled. She fell into a chair, tears pooling in her eyes, not because of the money, but because someone finally saw her. That evening, as Layla stood outside the glittering glass tower with the check still clutched in her pocket, she had no idea that the moment she'd walked through those doors, her entire life would never be the same. The glass doors slid open with a quiet whoosh, and Layla stepped into the kind of building she'd only seen in glossy magazine ads. The Hale Corporation tower shimmered with power, white marble floors, vertical gardens climbing the walls, and the kind of silence that came with millions of dollars humming behind closed boardroom doors. She clutched the check tighter, still not quite believing this wasn't a prank or a dream that reality would snatch away. "Layla Ali," the receptionist asked, her voice as crisp as her blazer. "Mr. Hale is expecting you. Please take the elevator to the 43rd floor." The ride up felt like rising through layers of her own past, each floor a memory. Her mother's whispering lullabies in Arabic. Her brother crying with a fever in a broken bed. The scholarship email she never got to reply to. The moment she put on the waitress apron and told herself, it's just for now. Ding. The doors opened to a penthouse office. No cubicles, just glass, wood, and one man standing in front of a view of the whole city. Dominic Hale turned, wearing a suit that cost more than her entire life savings, but his eyes weren't smug today. They were thoughtful, curious. I didn't think you'd come, he said. Layla tilted her chin, her pride stitched into every breath. You asked. I did. He motioned toward a chair. Sit. She sat, carefully, still unsure whether this was a game or a test. He held up the check. This isn't charity. You earned it, and I don't take bets lightly. But I also don't waste talent. Why are you waitressing? She gave him the short version. Dropped out to care for her mother. Couldn't return. Supporting her brother. No time, no money. He listened, really listened. When she finished, there was a silence that said more than sympathy ever could. I don't want to offer you a job, he finally said. I want to offer you a chance. Come work with me, as my personal translator and cultural advisor. Travel, meetings, high stakes. You'd be assisting on multi-billion-dollar projects, not pouring coffee. Her breath caught. Why me? Because no one in that cafe could translate that quote. Not even my team of consultants. But you did, in seconds, and then walked away like it didn't matter. She stared at him. And if I say no? You walk out with $12,000. No pressure. But if you say yes, this could be the beginning of something very, very big. She should have hesitated, should have asked more questions, but something in her gut, the same gut that got her through grief and poverty, told her this was real. I'll try, she said. No, he smiled. You will. That's what I'm betting on. 6 months later, the world had changed. Layla now lived in a sunlit apartment her old self would have never dared dream of. She flew across countries, interpreting contracts in Mandarin, negotiating in Arabic, and charming boardrooms in Paris. She wore tailored blazers, heels she'd once only admired in glass cases, and carried herself like someone who belonged. Because she did now, but she never forgot where she came from. Every month, she visited the cafe. Not for nostalgia, but to slip envelopes under napkin holders. Tips of $500. New shoes for the cook's son. Rent money for the dishwasher. Quiet blessings in return for what that place had taught her. Dominic, he changed too. The more time he spent with Layla, the more human he became. The arrogant CEO who once mocked others became a man who listened, learned, and even laughed with his staff. The boardroom whispered about how he was different now. Sharper, kinder, more aware. And yes, he noticed her. How could he not? She was intelligent without flaunting it, graceful without effort, and the way she saw the world, with empathy and clarity, reminded him what true strength looked like. One evening, on a rooftop in Tokyo, under city lights and soft jazz, he said softly, "You've become the most important voice in my company, and maybe in my life." Layla looked at him. There was no dramatic music, no sweeping declarations. Just two souls who had risen out of their own shadows, and finally saw each other clearly. I used to dream of a moment like this, she whispered, but I always thought I'd be invisible forever. He reached for her hand. You were never invisible. You were just waiting for the world to catch up to your light. And to the viewer still watching right now. Speech balloon, maybe you're just a waitress. Speech balloon or a cleaner. A student, a dreamer who had to put their passion on pause. Speech balloon, maybe life has made you feel small, unseen, or forgotten. But let Layla remind you, your brilliance is not based on your paycheck. It lives in your choices, your courage, and your consistency. Bullseye. If this story moved you, hit that like button. Bell, and don't forget to subscribe for more emotional, powerful stories like this. Because your next opportunity might just come with a challenge. And when it does, answer it like Layla did. With grace, with fire, and with no fear.